beautiful life. All that I've got is all that I need. I got you, baby, you got me. What more could I ask for? Beautiful life. Beautiful life. We got beautiful life. I got what a beautiful life. Beautiful life. Listen, I woke up this morning, y'all. The sun was shining oh so brightly. I thought about how good this life is. Back in the day, it wasn't always like this. I think about the things we done been through. I think about the place that I come from. It wasn't always easy, so every day I'm thanking God for the beautiful people everywhere I go. I just need to see your smiling faces at my show. And when you're feeling real love from the family, every day is a gift, y'all, that's all I need. What a beautiful life. All that I've got is all that I need. I got you, baby, you got me. What more could I ask for? Beautiful life. Beautiful life. We got beautiful life. I got what a beautiful life. Beautiful life. Happiness, you know, it feels real good, y'all. For us to get it, then we gotta work hard, y'all. Every day. And don't pay attention to the things they say when they tell you that you can't make it, but you can if you try, y'all. When life is rough, I know sometimes you wanna cry, y'all. Just keep the faith and don't question. Ain't no need of stressing. Your life is still a blessing. It's not about the cars, the money, or the clothes. You can believe these things will only come and go. But when
hey, everybody, how are you? Happy New Year. I know it's the 7th, so I technically should not be continuing to say Happy New Year. But this is the first time I've seen you in the new year. So, Happy New Year! Yay! Okay, that's about all you're going to get today. So, did you notice there were 2 sets of boots on the boot cam today? I told you it was going to be hot enough to... These boots are so hot, I'm sure it was melting the snow outside. Okay. This is my in-studio guest, author Frances Frost. We will be talking to her a little later in the show, but right now on the line, I have Miss Andrea Blackstone. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
hello,
good. See,
to you.
I am a technology challenged, so sometimes I can hear my guests and sometimes I can't. So I did good today. It's a new year, new beginnings. So I'm on the ball today. I even got my sign hung up, semi-straight, because sometimes it looks a little crooked. So today I did well. I guess next time I should just bring it down a little bit. Hi, Morgan. If you were tuning in just now, we just left the Truth 360 show, and let me just tell you that the song that they went out with, Go Get Your Blessings by Mary Mary, that's my theme song. I know I shouldn't be, two-stepping to the gospel, but, sometimes you can two-step to the gospel, because sometimes you just have to, right?
You just have
to. So Andrea, I always ask this, so Francis, you can get prepared when I ask you. Andrea, tell me 3 things about yourself, or 2 or 3 things about yourself that I would not find about you online. See?
Oh, wow, that's hard to do. Let's see, 2 or 3. Okay, you might not know that I'm a big advocate of veterans, only because I worked with homeless veterans through AmeriCorps some years ago, but that's become my big passion and platform.
Okay.
So I'm a big military supporter. Let's see, what else? What else would you not know about me from online? Hard to say. You might find something, but you might not, in terms of I'm a reporter. So I don't know if you can find that online or not, but I freelance for several newspapers at this point, and at one point I was a military editor for a newspaper in Prince Georgia.
Okay, so and it's funny. I did not know that you were an advocate for the disabled veterans. or veterans, homeless, but my dad is the new commander of the Disabled Veterans for Maryland.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
wow.
I'm so proud of my dad. Hi, Harold. That's the only time you'll ever hear me use his name. So he is the state commander for the Disabled Veterans of America. So DAV, or I guess I don't. Yeah. So
That's wonderful.
he drives the little, he drives the H2 thing, the truck, and it's so funny because every time he goes into McDonald's or somewhere, the people come bum rushing him, and he basically doesn't get his food because they're wanting answers, and he's like, he's very personable. So, and I keep saying, we're not gonna get no food. Like, you just gonna leave? Like,
right.
Really? I mean, my thing is, they might pay for your lunch. I mean, hey, you're the commander. You got me, But he wouldn't do that. But it's just, don't pull into McDonald's with me in the car because I might have a little bit of attitude. I might get a little attitude if I leave there with nothing. Right? No fries. Right? The fries, because let me tell you, honey, it's a problem in the situation if I don't get no McDonald's fries. Now that's a whole nother show, people. So we met at the Black Readers Rock weekend. That's where I met both of you young ladies at. And I remember you were covering, I think, the Friday night events, which were hosted by Jason Lee, who I had on the week before the Christmas Eve. So I was busy that weekend. So you said that you are a reporter, and you have a magazine that you are the president of?
Right. I before I started working in the media officially, I started an online magazine called Grove Street. It's been about almost 2 years now, but I did it because I wanted everyone to have a platform. So every month I decided I would interview everyone from authors, experts, nonprofit leaders, artists who may have foundations, and celebrities that people weren't aware of. I wasn't so much interested in gossip, but just little-known facts that I could share with the public. So I was a news chaser before I was officially a news chaser. And there was one other author that I met at a writer's retreat in Texas who became like my right arm, was making sure it got out every month. And then I had a growing book blog that just blew up to the point where I just couldn't handle the interviews fast enough and book reviews. And then we had an events blog. So I'm trying to roll that all into one website because I really want independent artists to have more of a platform, whether they get picked up in the media or not, so people know what they're doing.
So
and
have
then
you
mixed it in?
So have you found that it is more difficult, because you're an author as well of novels. So have you found that it's more difficult writing the novels and getting that out, or writing the magazine and getting that out?
Oh, I mean, honestly, newspaper and magazine is hard, but I would say of all the things I've done, the newspaper deadlines are the hardest, only because they come back to back so fast. And your deadlines to go to print are really fast, so you have to get it in. So that is brutal if you're not very organized and prepared. And the magazine is difficult in terms of, how it is when you schedule people, or that whole process, hoping that no one backs out on you and you have everything set up. And then I was designing everything myself and learning as I went. But the reward was just when everything was finished, I felt like, okay, I think we got some really good people to share about. And that kind of is what kept me going and drove me to continue doing it. The book, I would say, I just actually turned in something. And it was due on January 1st. So most of my holiday was spent at my laptop because I went from newspaper deadlines to book deadlines, and that was brutal. And what I try to do is do a little at a time now, because it's not like it used to be. If I had a book project, I'd just sit down and bang a lot out at one time. Right. And I can't always do it like that now. So what I try to do is set deadlines for myself. Like, my goal is to get this amount done when I sit down this time, and I do it in chunks. And then I just call it a rough draft, and then I know I'm going to have to go back and clean it up a whole lot. But in terms of deadlines, I'm pretty good at saying on task with that, but it is tough when you're juggling multiple deadlines. You have to be incredibly organized to make it work.
Right. So you said you just turned in something. So is it another novel?
Yes.
And what genre?
Yes,
What genre are you writing in?
It'll be my first romance novel under Ashley Antiquatus' new line, Owl, and Anna Lake McCall is just an editor for it. So
Okay.
I've never really done romance, but I've had romance in my head.
Okay.
So I tried to create somebody that, like, if people don't love Archie, you can't love a man.
Right.
He's like my fantasy guy because I'm not a sappy romantic in terms of, you know, I was never someone who sat down and read Harlequin or anything. But the story that I tried to craft is about loving someone against the odds and a reality that some people really face in real life where things aren't ideal, but do you fight for that love under the worst or most difficult circumstances?
Okay.
So I hope it's relatable in that way where it's not everybody's going to ride off into the sunset on a horse, but things that could really go wrong or things that could really happen. And do you give up or do you stick it out?
Right.
Now, and the man is not the bad guy in this novel, so that was another leap of faith.
Okay. So what are your other novels about? Since you said this was your first romance, and I know you had a entry in the Chicken Soup for the of the Soul.
Yes, I did. That was like, I guess, my nonfiction foray as far as my mom had passed away. I was incredibly distraught. I didn't know which way to turn. It was a sudden thing, and I used to have an online writers group that was maybe 200 or 300 people.
Okay.
And through that process, there was someone that told me that I met, and she said, you know, you really should consider sending your story in. But that was the hardest thing I ever had to write, even though it wasn't that long.
Okay.
And I kind of wrote it and forgot about it. But I got a notification that it was selected, like, for the first round, and then after they picked it up, it was like, really?
Wow,
So,
okay. So
yeah,
there's a process
like,
to that. There's a process to getting into the Chicken Soup series?
Yes.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I thought it was just you write a story and submit it, and then if it's chosen, you get it. Like, you know, like, oh, okay, we have, 12 slots, and, oh, here's 12 stories, so we take the first 12 or something like that.
It's just like any other thing. Like if you see a call out with a publisher, and maybe I'm sure you've seen like a publishing house, and they tell you like if they're accepting certain types of projects, you can let them know. So what they do is they have a thing on the website. They tell you what they're looking for and the date it's due if you want to submit a story for consideration.
Okay.
And they tell you the parameters and the rules. So I followed what it said on the website, and I kind of forgot about it.
Okay.
And then I heard back, which, again, I didn't expect. And then I heard back a second time telling me that they wanted the story. And then so Lisa Nichols was the editor for the project. So it was actually pretty cool because this was before Caribou closed down. I actually got to meet her.
Wow,
and talk to her about editing my story.
Right. So,
and,
when you do like when you're writing, like when you were writing the Chicken Soup for the Soul, first of all, I don't follow rules much, so I don't think I ever be in the Chicken Soup of the Soul for anybody, because you can't give me a parameter to write when I'm writing, because it's like I seem, I was that little girl that colored outside of the lines, and you couldn't tell me that I couldn't color outside of the lines. Like I would draw the line to encompass what I had done outside of the line. So I'm not a rule follower. Now I will follow the rules to a point. So, like I'm a renegade. I want to say I'm a renegade. So, sometimes a renegade could be good and other times not. But, when are you thinking that you may want to do another entry or submit another entry for Chicken Soup of the Soul?
I may. I think for me it was just the right topic at the right time, and it was one of those things I said, oh, why not? I mean, like I said, I really didn't expect it to go anywhere because I was really angry when I wrote it and upset because my mom had literally just died, like not, you know. And so the story was kind of about how the day I became an author was the day I found out she was terminally ill and the choice I had to make. And so it was from that perspective about death and motivation and whatever. But, you know, I think it would just have to be the right topic. But what I've told people over the years is that these contests and entries and calls for submissions are really good because it gives you a reason to practice and get better. So if somebody says do something in 750 words or 2,000 words or 50,000 words, you know what that feels like. And it really gives you a chance to try your hand at different types of writing.
Okay, and that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
Yeah, that is why another reason I did it, because before I had anything published, and I was sitting up in my room after grad school. I didn't know anything. Like my cousin, a good friend of mine who was a roommate in school, and bought me a subscription of Honey magazine. And they used to have this thing where if you want to submit a story, and you know, just like they do in a lot of magazines, how to submit. I never had the courage to send it, but I have a whole box of stuff that I wrote that I never sent. So I started training myself to know what it feels like to tell a story different ways, in different forms, to different audiences.
I needed your help when I was in high school, because when they told me to write a 2-page, you know, story, beginning, middle, and an end, I turned in 8 pages. So see, maybe I need to practice that. So, so tell my viewers where they can find you online.
Sure. Right now I'm revamping a lot of stuff, but they can find me on Facebook, and I have an author page. It's authoress Andrea Blackstone. I'm on Twitter at Andrea Blackstone with no E. Don't know why I couldn't get my own name on Twitter.
I know, you know what? And that was funny because I was like, why is it Stun? I thought her last name was Stone. And I kept looking, and I'm like, something's not right here. I'm not quite sure.
They cut it off or something. Cut off your name.
Right. Maybe they only limit you to a certain amount of characters.
Maybe
for your name.
Maybe I'm just, I don't know. It was really weird and frustrating. But yes, as you know, I'm on Twitter. I primarily use Twitter.
Okay.
And I keep up with other people, what they're doing, and that's kind of like my book, you know, like professional type of communication, and before I get on Instagram and all of that.
All right, so we are going to I want all my viewers and all my listeners, because some people have me on their computer but they're minimized because they're still at work. So I want all of my viewers and listeners to make sure you check out Andrea Blackstone on Facebook, her author page. Go like her. Look, people, don't like a status, like the page. It's like it's two separate. There are two separate things. When you see someone say, please like my page, that doesn't mean click like on that status. That means follow the link and go to the page, and then there's a little button that says LIKE. Hit that, because that means you like the page. So like her page, author Andrea Blackstone, or follow her on Twitter, Andrea Blackstone. Okay, so she is the same person on Twitter, or just look at my show Twitter account. We be swangin, hashtag we be swangin, because I'll be tagging them and when the show replays tomorrow. Okay, so thank you for joining me today, and I hope next time you can join us again when your new novel comes out. I want to hear all about it. So when the new novel comes out, make sure you email me or, tweet me or something saying, hey, be swangin', the romance is out. So, I always like a good book.
Much. I will. And
okay.
Anyway, to see what's up.
Yeah. Good. So we will talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm trying to do this upside down. Okay, there we go. So as you heard, it's Andrea Blackstone. So just find her on Facebook. Oh, I think I need to turn that down, huh? Find her on Facebook. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, wait a minute. Let me make sure I unplugged the right one. Nope, I don't think I did. Yes, it did. Okay. See, I told you I'm technically challenged. Oh Lord. So you know what? I'm thinking about those French fries actually. I done got hungry. I couldn't really concentrate. So Eric said him too. Is there McDonald's here? Oh, it's all the way up the street. And then they got that stupid turn that you can't turn to the left.
You gotta go right.
Oh, they got French fries next door? Well, can somebody bring us some French fries from next door? I'm just saying, you know. Well, apparently they got good food next door, so I don't know. I have to go over there one day. I got to come a little early so I can go next door.
Place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, okay, we done got totally off track. This might need to change to book, shoes, food, and writing, because you always find yourself eating when you're writing, okay? And I don't have wine. I have wine. Now, I don't think we should be drinking out the bottle, but I had wine, and here's what happened. I had the wine bottle and got the wine bottle. Wine bottle's there. As you can see, it's sticking about my bag. But what happened was I took the glasses out at work to wash them and left them at work. Yeah. So, you know, I wasn't above drinking out the bottle, but since you're here, I don't want to do that. So the next time you come, we'll have glasses, okay? So our next guest is Miss Frances Frost, and I met her, as I said, Andrea, at the Black Readers Rock Weekend last October that is hosted by Sharon Lucas of the Reading Divas. And I just love the title of the book, Life in Spades. Now, I'm going to tell you my little spade story.
Okay.
Because I'm banned. I'm banned from spades, and here's why. Because while my father is out volunteering with the DAV, my mom is hosting spade parties. And I was learning. I'm not a card player. I've never been a card player. And so I was like, I want to learn how to play spades. So my mom was my partner. She was like, okay, I'll be your partner. And I was like, I've seen how she plays spades. And I was like, I'm going to be in trouble with Swangin Webster. I know it's going to be trouble. So you get partners. And so we deal. And so then they say, how many books can you make? So I looked at my little cards and I'm like, 12.
Ooh.
And so my mom said, are you sure you can do 12? I'm like, yeah, I can do 12. Thinking, okay, well, because then she said, now think carefully. It's me and you. Is that how much? Now, you don't need to make 12. I'm gonna make some, and then you make some. I'm like, okay, I know, I got this, Mom. I'm making 12, right? Because I'm looking at my hand. I think I got 12 good cards, right? So, card game begins, and, I'm throwing out my cards. And, my mom is giving me this look. And I'm, throwing them, and I'm getting ready to reach for the card, and then everybody else taking it. I'm like, well, what you doing? Because I think that's mine. Well, I didn't know the object was not to have the highest number card. It was to have a spade. Oh, okay. So I was like, I declare war. So I had the highest number card in my hand. So I would throw out a king of hearts, and everybody else had clubs. So
you should have won that one.
Well, but somebody had an ace.
Yeah.
So,
but then you would have been out for the rest of the hand.
Yeah. So So anyway, so
and I out of clubs.
I kept cutting everybody's cards. So when the spades came around, I kept saying I don't have any number. I said I don't have any number that's bigger than that, right? So I would throw out a cut card, right? So then I started playing the spades. And so my mom was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm now playing my low cards that were spades. My mother said to me, get up from the table. I was like, what do you mean, get up from the table? Get up from the table. Don't get up from the table. Like, banned me. Took my cards out of my hand, went over, like, snatched the chair out from under me, and said, get away from the table and don't ever come back. That was 10 years ago.
Spades is
Every time
it's
she has a car, because she has like a spade party like once a month, and she has 4 tables and round robin it and all that. And so I try to like come over, and I'll go over on the day I know she's gonna have it, and then she'll say, "You getting ready to leave, right? You're not staying." And I'm like, "Well, Mom, that was 10 years ago. You're not staying." I'm like, "Really? I'm still banned? You're still banning me from spades
for life?
So for life, I'm banned for life. I think I have a phobia now. It's very serious. I did not realize how serious spade playing was. Even my white friends play spades. And yeah, and I'm like, y'all play spades? White folk play spades? I know that might sound racist, but I didn't think that white folks knew how to play spades. Well, they learned online. Okay. But now they have spade parties. How are you having spade parties?
So maybe you could get in on their spades party.
No, because after they said, do you know how to play? And I was like,
and you told them the story?
No, I didn't tell them the story. I said, Well, I was banned at one point. When they heard the word banned, it was like, well,
that
no,
wasn't
you can't.
a good start.
No, you
That wasn't a
can't.
good
I was like,
start.
so I can't lead in with that. Huh?
No.
So now I can play spades by playing spades with the women in the book.
Yes.
And there, no harm, no foul will come of this. So tell me, okay, first I read that you were the queen of University of Delaware.
I was.
Yeah, see? You didn't think I knew that, did you? See? You don't know what I'm going to find out about you people, so be careful when you come on the show. Here. So, tell us about that.
I was in my senior year. I went to University of Delaware.
Okay. Were you in the Ebony book? Did you get in the
Yeah, I
Ebony
was
book?
in the Ebony book.
I didn't see it in Ebony, though, but what? What year?
Book.
I need to go look.
91.
My mom keeps all the Ebony, so I'm sure
way
she has
back
it.
in 91.
Yeah. Okay, 91. Mom, Flora Webster, get out your Ebony books. I'll be over later.
So I went to University of Delaware, and homecoming was coming along.
Right.
I said to my roommate, I said, should I go out to be the blue hen? You know, they have the little mascot.
Right.
I said, should I try out to be the blue hen, or should I enter to
you
be
wanted
the
to be the
homecoming
blue
queen?
hen?
I thought that would be interesting.
Okay.
So my roommate said, no. It's also the person who taught me to play spades, by the way.
Okay.
Said, I think you should try the homecoming queen thing.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So the interesting thing is that Delaware has never had a black homecoming queen.
Okay.
And so, it was a far reach.
That would be a little bit down the road at Delaware State.
That would be Del State. So, we went and, went to the Black Student Union, said, I want you to be my sponsor. Mm-hmm. So then we decided, well, we're going to have a little runoff Black Student Union. Okay. So I was selected as the representative for Black Student Union, as well as the king, our king nominee. Okay. So we put our names in. Mm-hmm. We got everybody, said, hey, we're running. Make sure you go vote, because Black folks usually didn't vote for homecoming.
See, that don't change in just the political aspect, people.
Because
it starts in college.
Right? We usually didn't have a representative.
Right,
it was mainly the fraternities and sororities. So we said, well, we're going to run this year from Black Student Union. Mm-hmm. So we did that. Everybody got out to vote. We bugged everybody, like we do for the presidential election. Like, did you vote?
People.
Did you vote?
Right, exactly.
There's the voting
Rock
center.
The vote,
right.
Vote.
There's the voting center. Did you go to vote? And this was before Twitter and Facebook. Okay. So we couldn't even tweet it out. We actually had to go up to people.
Wow, you had to do real work.
Right. You had to actually be outside. Did you vote? So we did. We voted. We waited. And the night before homecoming, we all had to gather. They listed off the votes, and they go from third place to second. And they called third place, and we didn't win. So I told the king, I said, I think we're out. He's like, they didn't call you for third because we won. I was like, well, we don't know that. They just called third.
Exactly.
So they get to second place, they didn't call our name.
And you're like, let's go home.
He was like, yeah, because we won.
Okay.
I said, I don't know about that. So, get to first, and then finally, homecoming king queen, they announce our name. And I'm shocked and surprised. And he's like, I told you we were going to win. So that was really exciting. Wow, okay. It was really exciting. We did the whole parade. Everybody was excited. Like I said, we were the first Black homecoming king and queen for the University of Delaware. And we did the parade, went out to the field for the game, and just had a really good time. It was real fun. Little crown and everything.
It's always good to be the first.
Yeah,
and fun. I heard, I've never been a queen of a queen.
Oh yes,
shoes,
that was the best part. That was the best part. Riding through the parade.
So congratulations for being the first Black queen of University of Delaware. See, my daughter went to Delaware State.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah, we were looking at University of Delaware, and then because she was going through a phase in her life, and she was like, I want to go through University of Delaware. And we went there, and then we went to Salisbury, and then we went to Dale State because her friend was going to go to Dale State because he was a runner. And then she went to Dale State and was like, this is what this is my place. So it's like, okay, so that's where she went. She's in the military now, so I'm a military brat too. So
am I.
Air Force,
Army.
Okay. So tell us about Life in Spades.
Life in Spades is about playing your best hand.
Okay. Which I clearly did.
Right. Your band.
Right.
So there's 4 friends, Gina, Cookie, Laura, and Sherry. Okay. And they do play spades. And they get together every month, play a game of spades. And in the meantime, they're bouncing off their life off of each other. What's going on with each one? How are they playing their hands in real life?
Oh, okay.
As well.
Okay.
So we have Cookie, and she lost her fiance years ago, and is still recovering from that. And her friends are saying it's time for you to get back out there and find someone else. And here's this guy who comes in your bakery every day, and we think he likes you.
Okay.
So there's Gina, and the book opens actually with Gina running through the park. And she's with her white boyfriend who's convinced her that by running together, training for this marathon, they'll convince her mother that their interracial relationship will work.
Okay. By running?
By running,
Okay.
because he convinces her that this will show our dedication and how much we bond with each other and how much we like each other, can work together. And in the meantime, she's like, okay, but I hate running.
Right.
So,
did he not understand the black hair thing?
Well,
like,
she gets into the hair. She gets into the hair, and,
Not everybody wears shake and go.
Right. At one point, she says to her friend, she's like, this is why, interracial dating doesn't work because what about my hair?
Right, exactly. They can jump in the shower every morning and wash their hair and let it dry. We jump in the shower, we got the shower cap on to make sure that nothing wets this hair before the hairdresser. So
yeah, she complains about that.
Okay.
And just goes through different things about the interracial relationship. And then there is Sherry. Sherry's divorced. She was married, happy, and her husband was found guilty with some financial misdealings. So he's gone to jail. And she decided that at that point, she didn't trust him anymore, and he basically broke her heart.
Okay.
And so she's done with the serious relationships.
Okay.
So she's kind of out there, single again, dating, having fun, and then her niece, who's pregnant, ends up at her house.
Okay.
And so she's like, oh, so what about my single, go happy days?
So these women are not older women.
No.
Okay, see, I don't know why I was picturing not older women, but I was picturing like Golden Girls women.
No, they're like mid-30s.
Oh, okay, young folks play spades?
Yeah.
Right.
I learned to play spades in college, freshman year.
Okay. Really? Well, okay, I must admit that my nieces and nephews at age 6, 7, 8, and 12 were playing spades, and I'm standing there looking like, and they would be telling me, Aunt Sandy, your band. And I'm like,
so
really?
So you're banned by the kids
Yeah,
too?
because my mother told the story to them.
Okay.
Not,
so
because I'd be like,
knew.
oh, no, throw it in. Aunt Sandy, your band. I'm like, really? So you're just going to, whatever. So now, how did you come up with the story? What made you want to write that? Like, first, is someone in this book, or one of those characters you, or some of your friends, or some of your sorority sisters?
They're not me. They're not anybody in particular. There may be pieces, not necessarily of a particular person, but maybe of different situations, things like that.
Okay.
There are pieces, some pieces that may be inspired by a particular event or a person or something like that, but they're not a particular person.
Okay. So how long did it take you to write it?
It took me almost 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, why so long?
Well, because I'm a mom of 4.
Okay.
So that's my primary responsibility.
Okay.
And so the writing part took place in between raising the kids, driving to school, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So this was mainly a late night in the car, early morning.
Okay. So how old are your children? I'm a mom of 5, but they're grown.
I saw that. Mine are in high school. I have 1 in high school. I have 2 in middle school, and I have 1 in elementary school.
Oh, wow. Okay. So space up. See, mine were kind of sort of like that. They all seemed to, like it was always 2 somewhere.
Right, right.
So it was like 2, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
And then 3 and 2. And then, 4 and 1. Like I literally had high school graduations 3 years in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how broke I was, because those senior pictures are killer.
And the prom and the
and the class ring and the class dues and the senior
yearbook
trip and it was like,
and the prom.
Yes, and homecoming, because you can't get, you got to have a homecoming dress,
which cannot be the prom dress.
Yeah. That's the face I had for 3 years when my kids were in high school. Because
but were the boys? Did you have boys?
Yes, I had 3 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
But the boys were worse. Because I had 2 sons that were fashion forward sons, and they had to have the tuxedo, the suit, the dress, the button. It got to be a little bit much. Okay. And then I said, well, you're all the same size, and
so you tried to make them all wear the same suit?
Not happening. So not happening. So that was my escape. Writing was my escape. Okay. So when you sit, do you write from an outline?
You know what? This one I did not.
Okay.
And I started with an idea. My idea with this one was I wanted a story about African American women that was light, that was fun, what I call kind of a beach read, like that vacation read, that had some substance to it, but wasn't going to make you cry when it was all over.
And not the one where all the women were against each other.
Right. I wanted them to be friends with that natural give and take and that pushback that you get from your friends. Right. And so I did want that. I wanted there to be positive relationships between the friends, between the women. And so I started there. And really, Gina was the first character that I came up with. And I imagined Gina and who she was, her relationship, and then who would her friends be.
Oh, okay. So she was the one that guided the story.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And so then her 3 other friends showed up, and they took over the story, and so they're all 4 in there. The last one I think I didn't mention earlier was Laura, and she's a professional escort.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. So
now that one took me quite by surprise.
Couldn't see your face on that one.
Did y'all see that? Because that was like, whoa. Okay, Francis Frost is writing about escorts, people. Okay. How did Gina end up with a friend that was an escort?
I don't even know where she came from. Like she just
walked in.
She just showed up. And said, "I want to be
like
in the
they
story
all do."
I want to be in the story.
Okay.
I tried to think of other jobs for her. This was the job. This was
the job. Wow.
So
okay, people. Now, if you are her friend, or if you know her and you see her grasping at straws on what character and what job her character is going to say, don't suggest. Don't help her out. She needs no help, and clearly she wrote about her. How much of the story is Laura? Like how much?
They're probably all about equal.
Okay.
They're probably about all equal.
Her friends know that she's an escort?
Her friends do.
Ooh,
and Laura's thing, she has a set of rules, how she works.
Okay.
And her challenge is figuring out how do you balance your personal life. Because she wants a man that she loves for real.
Okay.
How does she balance that personal life versus the professional life?
Now, okay, I need to ask: did you have to do research on this? Like, how do you research how to be an escort?
I did a little bit.
Here in DC, it wouldn't be that hard, but
yeah. So some of it I did a little bit, and the other is her.
Okay. All right. Wow. I'm speechless with the escort twist. That's the twist. So when you wrote this, okay, so are you traditionally published?
No, I'm self-published.
Okay. So okay, so you're a brave girl, because I couldn't do it. My patience is I had a moment. I'm sorry. I wanted to do that initially, but my patience wasn't there, because it was like, not that I wanted to rush it to be out. It was just like I didn't have the patience to try to format. Like I didn't get it. I didn't get that whole thing. Maybe because I'm bad with math and I don't know how to do margins. So that's probably why. I'm blaming math for that. So when you decided that you wanted to do your self-publishing and indie publishing, because that's what they call it now. Had you looked at going out and trying to get an agent? And
I did.
All of that?
I did the whole thing. I sent out about 1,000, letters. and queries and chapters and pages and things like that. And I spoke to a few people who worked with agents.
Okay.
And one of the responses was that this wasn't the type of African American book that would sell on the market that publishers were looking for.
Really?
Yeah. I think because urban fiction is so popular now, and it doesn't really fit into the idea of what you think of like urban fiction.
Well, see, but here's the thing, and I always find this, and I'm glad you brought it up, because traditional publishers mistake urban fiction for street literature.
Right.
And
It's all kind of thrown
together.
in together.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't fit,
right.
so it didn't. It's not a romance like Andrea was talking about. It's not a true romance in the definition of a romance novel. It was more of the girlfriend novel, which typically has white characters in it.
Right. What they would call contemporary
fiction.
Okay.
And so it didn't really fit. And so my patience level, like yours, after a while I said, well, you know what? I have a business degree. I can figure out the business end of it. I'm tech savvy enough to figure out the formatting and the electronic part of that.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. So I found an editor. I did find a professional editor, which is very advisable for anybody who's doing any writing, is get a professional
editor. Did you hear that, people? Get a professional editor, not your auntie.
No.
I say this so many times. Not your auntie, your grandma, or your sister. Get that person. And I always say, if you get the credit, if you have, the auntie that's like, ooh, child, don't put that book down. You don't need to be writing. If you have one like that, then go ahead and let her read it.
Well, you know what? The thing is, I have a writers group.
Okay.
I'm in 2 writers groups. And so one of them read it pretty much cover to cover.
Okay.
And they came back, this is what we think, this is what we don't like, this is what we do like, that kind of thing. But those were the only people who read it.
Okay.
And before we started the writers group, we had never met each other.
Okay.
We met in the writers group.
So they didn't know you. They didn't have an invested interest to say, oh, it's so good.
Right.
All right.
None at all.
Right.
We've developed quite a good friendship over the years. However, we're still, no, I don't like that. That doesn't make sense. That's great. I like the version you had last week instead.
Okay.
Which is very helpful. To get that kind of objective look, right? We're not at that point where we feel like we can't, hurt each other's feelings about it. So I think that's very helpful to have an objective look at your book. And I had 2 other friends who looked at pieces of it because they are writers. So they came at it from a different perspective than just my girlfriend, who
who is like, oh, girl, yes, hurry and get that book out so I can buy it. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's valuable to have objective readers, and maybe they're your friends, maybe they're not, but to have objective readers, to have a professional editor, because even after they all read it, I read it 15 times. The editor still came back with corrections, changes, things that I had missed. Okay. So that was well worth it. And I hired a cover designer. So that's not what I do. That's not, and that's another thing I think with self-publishing is to spend that money for what's not your talent, right? Your talent is to write. It's not to design book covers and things like that.
And I do like this. I love the cover, and I know you all can't see it on here, but Eric, if you have the photo of it, it's a spade.
It's a spade.
But it has shoes and a bottle and food, and I love the stiletto at the bottom. And dresses and things that if you look close enough, this is what these friends encompass, what these friends social circle or what their priorities are
in their whole
life. Yes. And I love the way life is spelled because it's a wine glass or champagne glass. Yeah. So I love that.
And you'll see, and I brought you a bookmark, but this is the lady.
Oh, yeah.
That was also designed because I'm not a graphic designer.
Because the lady on this card, she is, her top is a spade. Like, her waist is the little stem. I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing. Thank you, because I really do like this. I mean, and it's basically a playing card. It's the 4. Well, why the number 4?
Well, there are 4 women in the book.
Okay. Oh,
and,
yeah, that was okay. That would make sense.
And 4 is my favorite number. See, that's not online. 4 is my favorite number.
4 is your favorite number. See, okay, so
that's
4
my
is her
number
favorite
for roulette,
number.
So.
Okay, all right. So see, that's also what's another thing that we don't know about. Well, no, the first thing was that you were a queen of University of Delaware.
Okay.
First, African American queen of University of Delaware. Second was her favorite number is number 4, and
the other related to Andrea's, I'm an Army brat. That was mine.
Yeah,
I don't think that's online anywhere.
We'll forgive you for that. Is that? So, is this going to be a series?
I don't know yet. When I wrote it, I didn't intend it to be a series. Okay. But it's funny, after I hit print, it was gone to the publisher. I was still waking up thinking, oh, I know what they're going to do next. And I had to remind myself, no, they're over. Books printed. We're going to print.
Okay.
So it took them a while for them to leave me. So I don't know if they're coming back.
Okay.
I do have a second book coming out, though.
Oh, okay. So is not related?
It's not related because I even started writing that before this was finished. So it's totally not related. It is another book about women.
Okay.
And this one, it's kind of about self-discovery and family secrets.
Okay. So do we have you have a title for that one yet, or not? It hasn't come to you yet?
I'm between 2 titles.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, how does the titles come to you? Do you start the novel saying, here's the title of the book and let me start writing? Or does the title, you just leave it blank and then
I just leave it blank and it just... Yeah, this was not the title when it started.
Okay.
And Life in Spades just came to me as the story came along.
Okay.
And that seemed to be the perfect title for
So
it.
What have you found is the hardest thing being an author?
The hardest, I think, as an independent author, it's you're responsible for everything. So the book itself, of course, that part is done, and in retrospect, that might have been the easier part.
Okay.
But figuring out where you should be, the different book shows and book fairs and things like that, where you should be, which ones are the most profitable, which ones are the best ones to be, where do you fit in, the business side of it can be daunting. It's not been that hard for me just because of my background.
Okay.
But being able to keep up with the business part of it, because anyway, for me, I started my own publishing label. So it's a small business, right? You've got taxes, you've got to file, and business licenses, that kind of thing. And different independent authors may do that differently, but whatever that business part is. And I think just being able to know how to market, where to market, who to connect to with marketing.
So how did you find your audience for the book? Because like your novel, my novel is urban fiction. It's not street lit. It's not, it's not, I call it contemporary urban fiction.
Okay.
Because it deals with real life. And it deals with issues that everyday people would deal with.
Right.
Now, okay, granted, not everybody deals with being an escort, but your topic, my daughter is in an interracial relationship, so that's relatable.
Right.
So how did you find the market for your novel?
Well, the book is online, and so, that's pretty much where everybody has to go. But I do book clubs. I visit with book clubs and talk to different book clubs. And a lot of it has been word of mouth, really. Okay. It's been word of mouth, and I think most books, whether traditionally published or self-published, that's how books are sold.
Right.
I know for me personally, I would say probably most of the books that I read is because somebody told me, Francis, you should read this book.
Yes.
I am the one who wanders through Barnes and Noble and just picks up a book and will take. And I'm so much on the cover. You know how they say don't judge a book by the cover. I'm all about the cover.
Me too.
So I have picked up books, have no idea what it's about, but the cover is beautiful.
Yeah, and
then I get home and I'm like, oh, that's what that book was about.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Water for Elephants. I was sure. Did you read Water for Elephants? Water for Elephants is about this guy, and he's in veterinarian school, and he leaves veterinarian school for all kinds of personal reasons, and he joins the circus basically. But the cover is beautiful, and I thought it was about somebody who took care of elephants in India or somewhere, right? Okay. So I'm reading, and I'm like, well, when's is he gonna get to India?
Because you already wrote that story.
Because I wrote the story in my head. So it turns out it was one of my favorite books. Actually, I love the book.
Okay.
But I'm all about the cover.
Right.
I'm all about the cover. Same thing for now I forgot the story. The cover. Bees. I can't remember the thing. But anyway. Little B. Little B.
Yeah.
Love the cover.
Okay.
And I love the back. That's probably the back cover is probably my favorite back cover.
Okay.
So go look at the back cover of Little B. It's
okay, go look at the back of Little B. Okay, the book Little B. Go look at the back of that. Even if you got to pull it up online, because Amazon will give you the turnaround view.
The turnaround.
So, yeah,
But I think it's about word of mouth.
Yeah.
It really is about word of mouth, finding people. Finding people who like it and who will share it. Whether it's I've had some good book reviews. So whether it's online book reviews, whether it's person to person, book recommendations. I think that's the best way and probably the way that most people know about books.
Right.
So it's just about generating that buzz.
Now, have you found, and I know I'm not, I'm not saying it to be disparaging, but I have found that a lot of African American authors, they tend to, even though they say I'll support you, they really don't, because they look at you as competition. Have you found that in a lot of the events that you go to? I went to one event and it felt like I was in competition.
Oh, okay. I see what
and
you're
it was
saying.
like I'm not here for competition.
We're all authors.
We're all authors.
Right.
There is enough of that pie to go around. So I have dedicated followers and readers and things like that. But I said I would never go to that event again because it just felt the feeling was just so cliquish. That if I wasn't, because I was the new girl,
okay,
that it felt like they looked at me like, oh, who is she? Circle the wagons, like, don't let her sit here. You know how you go in the cafeteria and nobody wants you to sit at their table, not because they don't like you, but because
they don't know you yet.
They don't know you yet, and they don't know. So what have you found that in some events that you've gone to?
I think individuals, on the most part, I would say no. Every now and then you might run into someone who is like that kind of, how many did you sell today?
Yeah.
What did you, and
that's the telltale sign.
Right.
People. When you ask me how many I sold, and then I say, well, how do you do? And you're like, oh, not bad.
Yeah.
But then why would you ask me the number
and not share?
Right.
Because I'm about sharing the information.
Because if I sold 2, I'm saying I sold 2.
Right. And I want to know, did you sell 2 and I'm doing well? Or did you sell 7 or 10 and I know, okay, there's something I need to be doing?
Exactly. Because I share. I'm a sharer, honey.
So, I think the question is good, but it's where's the question coming from? Like most things in life, right? It's not about the question. It's where did that question come from?
Right.
What's the motivation
What's
behind
the motivation behind it? Right.
Yeah.
So, and God, I can't even believe that it's 4:55 already. And the time flies by. So you said that you're working on another novel.
I am.
So when do you think that that's going to be finished?
I would, my goal is to have it done by the spring.
Okay.
So that it can be a good summer read for everyone. If anyone is interested, again, in reviewing that book, or even whether you're a professional reviewer or you're active on Goodreads, I'm on Goodreads, and would like to be one of those readers when I get the first draft out, let me know. I'm online. I'm on
Goodreads too, so I'm gonna be the first one as soon as I get off air. I love reading, being one of the first readers, because I like to see what goes on.
I
in the
do
book.
too.
I really do. So I have to give you my second book when we leave here. So tell everybody where they can find you online.
I'm online. My website is Frances Frost, www.francesandfrost.com. Frances is with an E.
Right, not an I, people.
Right.
I think I made
are with
that.
an E.
Yeah.
Boys are with an I.
Yes. Oh, you know what? And that's so funny, because there's an author that I work with that his character is a Francis, and that's the twist. Right? Oh, that's the twist of the book. So no one, you really don't, you don't really pick it up until the end of the book. You know,
really?
like, because you're blowing through the book, and they never really say. Everyone uses it a different way, an I and an E, and an I and an E, and an I and an E, and then at the end they say, well, And that's what they say. So
Really?
Yeah. So it's pretty good. Got to pick it up. DB Corey. You got to pick it up because it is a fascinating read.
Well, if it's about Frances, I got to check this out.
Yeah. So you're online.
I'm online at francesfrost.com. I'm on Facebook, Frances Frost Author.
Okay.
And I'm on Twitter as Frances Frost.
Right. See? So
with my full name.
With the
I
guess
guess
I was gonna say
short enough.
It's short enough that you can get all of her name on Twitter.
Yes,
so make sure you go and follow her. Make sure you pick up this novel, Life of Spades. It is, I haven't gotten it yet, so I do need to get it, and so I can read it. Oh yeah.
I'm leaving this one with you.
So, so I'll be reading it, and it only takes me a couple days. So I'll be reading it and reviewing it. And people, when you get a book from the author, here's my tidbit of the day. When you get a book from the author, make sure you go and review it.
Yes, please.
Because we like to read the reviews. Good, bad, or indifferent. We want to see the reviews. Now, do you find yourself like waiting anxiously? Do you go online? Like I know an author that goes online every single day to see if they get a new review. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not that invested in that.
I don't.
I'll look like every now and again if I'm online and getting ready to buy something from Amazon. I'm like, okay, let me just go see. I think I had 10, 12 the other day or whatever. I'll look, but it ain't that serious to me. I mean, I like it to be reviewed because I know how many books I've given away that people said,
I'll review it for you. I think that's a big point too. I've given away a lot to people who've said they're going to review. And, I do that as well. On my blog, I'll review books. And I think that's just part of the partnership, that if I give you a book for the intent of reviewing it, even if you decide, and I've received books that I was like, it wasn't my thing, but I would still write the review, because that's what I said I would do.
Exactly. Or if it's not my thing, I will then contact the author and say, this is not a book that I would read. However, I'm going to give it to so-and-so.
Who will review.
And I had told them that they have 1 week to review the book and give it back to me and then post the review. Because then I still want that person to get the review. Because you are giving, now let me tell you something, people, these books are not cheap, okay? So if we are giving you a book and all we ask you is for a free, keyword free, review the damn book. Okay, I said I wasn't going to cuss. Review the ding-dang book. Now, I'm trying not to cuss, so I'm trying to find words to use. So, review the book, people. That's all you got to do. So, if you get a book from Frances, if you contact her and you say, and now, do you give a time limit? Do you say?
I do. I usually ask for about a month. I give people a little time.
So if you contact her, know that within 30 days she would like to see that review. Don't get the book just for the sake of getting a book to say, oh, I got the book from the author. Okay, we appreciate that.
I've seen some of the books resold online, which I think is funny.
You know what I do? I put the sticker "not for resale" on on the front cover somewhere, so that if you try to peel that off, it's going to peel off the cover, so somebody's going to know, where'd you get this from? Why is it all messed up in the corner? Like I always do that. Okay, that's just me, people. But we have run out of time. It's 5:00. Thank you for joining me in the studio today. It was a blast. I promise next time I'm just gonna have you back so we can have wine.
Okay, that'll be good.
Yeah. So then when it's warm outside, you know what? I want you to come back. We're going to go ahead and book you when the other book comes out. See, that'll make your deadline. That'll make you have a deadline.
Yes, I need that.
So she will be back in the spring. We will have another, in the spring, it'll be shoe cam again,
It'll be different shoes.
It'll be different shoes, okay?
Spring shoes.
So from me and from Frances and from Andrea that joined us earlier, I want to wish you a happy new year and be safe. And until next week, we all live a beautiful life, and we hope that you do too. Bye-bye.
What a beautiful life. All that I've got is all that I need. I got you, baby, you got me. What more could I ask for? Beautiful life. We got beautiful life. I got what a beautiful life. Beautiful life. Listen, I woke up this morning, y'all. The sun was shining oh so brightly. I thought about how good this life is. Back in the day, it wasn't always like this. I think about the things we done been through. I think about the place that I come from. It wasn't always easy, so every day I'm thanking God for the beautiful people everywhere I go. your smiling faces at my show. And when you're feeling real love from the family, every day is a gift, y'all. That's all I need. What a beautiful